Scorpio, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early to mid December 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business, as always, and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Scorpio collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do you got for us? What do you have for Scorpio gang in early to mid-December 2025? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card, and we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Scorpio in early to mid-December. What's the vibe as we close off yet another year, my good friends? I hope 2025 has been very kind to you. Okay, cool. I haven't seen this card in so long. So long. Now, this is more of a big picture card. We're not just looking at what's happening now or what's just happened. This is more like life's journey, life's purpose, and there's huge spiritual undertones to it as well. So to me, it's always big picture. And I haven't seen this card in months and months and months. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the December subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this. So as you can see here with the image, we have this individual kind of dressed up in a red costume, surrounded by these white birds. Now in symbolism and divination, white birds kind of represent spirit, the love and light type of energy. So we think of angels, guides, your guardian angel, your spirit team, ancestors, whatever we want to name it. And notice that they all have ropes. They all have strings that are guiding this person along. That's why, to me, it always looks like big picture. Now, first and foremost, huge card of spiritual protection, spiritual insulation. We're having spirit around you now. And a lot of you are probably very sensitive to that anyway. So just keep that in mind. Like, you got spirit. They're all around you. They're with you, even if you can't see or touch them. But to me, we're looking at the big purpose, the big journey of life. So for some Scorpios, maybe that's something that's on your mind lately. Like, what am I here for? What's the big picture? What's the reason? What am I meant to do? A lot of these things could be popping up in your mind here when this card shows up. And there could be a space and time that you're going through right now that is forming you for these next steps of your big journey. So I like this card quite a bit. I'm a little biased towards it because of the spiritual ties, but I think this is really beautiful and it's big picture thinking. So anything you're going through right now, maybe take a step back and don't just look at the small picture, look at the big picture, the ripple effect. So we're going to let him chill right there. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for Scorpio gang. Let's see what we got. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was pretty intriguing to me that Scorpio magnetism was on full display. The reading was titled Here They Come. And to me, it felt like a lot of things just coming at you. So just know whether it's people, situations, things, it's like things were just gravitating towards me. And that's an energy that could bleed over for a couple weeks. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards for Scorpio gang. What do we got early to mid-December, please? What do we got for our good friends? Thank you. Okay, the moon. Questions, lots of questions. All right. I like the moon. I mean, for a Scorpio reading, this is a vibe like we could get along with. That's for sure. Not wrong with a little bit of mystery, right? Let's get a couple more. I know Scorpio's very comfortable with that. Okay, the Sword of Truth, total opposite. Yeah, this is an energy that's piercing the veil, so to speak. Let's get one more. Let's get one more here. Eight of Swords, lots of thinking. Lots of thinking, lots of considering, lots of questions. That's like initially what's popping out to me so far, Scorpio. But of course, there's going to be other stuff. Let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, we have a little theme beginning to start to show. Let's look at the elements first, though, because I feel like that's very important. And there's a lot of air in the Scorpio reading this week. We got the Ace of Swords, we got the Eight of Swords. Now, air is a very pragmatic element. It's extremely intelligent, it's smart, straightforward, to the point. It's all about strategy and planning and seeing things for what they are. Seeing past the illusion, which seems to be one of the underlying themes this week. It can sometimes be a little cold. Air energy could sometimes be a little detached, a little mean. That's the downside of it. But the major thing here, it's the mind. It's the beautiful mind is what I'm going to call it right here. It's active, right? There's a lot of considering, a lot of thinking, a lot of questioning. And here on the front, we have Scorpio's power element, right? We got the water, we have the moon, big Pisces vibes, and even Cancer. So when I see this, this is all internal energy when we combine it together. It's like we have the heart, we have the mind, what I feel versus what I see. There's like this interesting dynamic that I'm starting to pick up on here, Scorpio. Now, water energy, as a lot of you probably already know, represents the emotional world, the creative realm, partnerships. So you see what I mean? We got the heart, we got the mind. So it's going to be an intriguing dynamic as we move through the reading, especially with these first two cards, with like the hidden and then the plain sight. Hidden, plain sight. So let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we got the moon. Now, as that card popped out, I said Scorpio's pretty comfortable with this energy, which I think is absolutely true. It's more of a subtle, uh, lower energy type of vibe. Not saying lower as in bad, but it's just like really soft, it's quiet, and there's a lot of subtlety to it. It's not a bad thing, right? So if some of you maybe have Pisces placements, I know I got Scorpio and Pisces, maybe got some Cancer placements too. These cards could represent them, but it's a card of intuition. It's a card of the dream state, altered states of consciousness, psychic gifts, energy sensitivity is huge when it comes to this. But the biggest thing for good and for bad when it comes to the moon, especially with the subtlety, is the illusion, the quiet, the unexpected, the surprising, the unknown. So that's like what we're starting with right here. A lot of questions, a lot of unknowns. And especially with what we have coming up here in the center, like there's a lot of eureka moments potentially coming up for Scorpio here. So a lot of questions. That's the best way I can put it. I'm not going to say it's like blatant secrecy. We'll have to see if that shows up within the reading itself, but I think you get my point with this moon. Now, moving to the middle, with all that being said, we got the Ace of Swords. What's the big nickname of this card? Let's see if you know it. The Sword of Truth. Okay, I know I didn't wait that long to tell you, but I call it that. A lot of other readers call it that because that is what it is. Now, normally aces represent communication, conversation, offers, opportunities. They're fresh, they're new. So I love the perspective that this card has. This one's a little different than the others. This one has a bit of an edge. It's honest, straightforward, it's to the point. It cuts things away. So when we have the moon with the Ace of Swords right next to it, it's like I'm seeing through all BS. I see through illusion. I'm getting down to the root of situations and problems, and I'm going right at it. Like no one's going to pull the wool over my eyes in this time. So it's a very clear-sighted type of energy. But what's the downside to the Ace of Swords? There is one. As I already mentioned, it could be very cold. It could be calculating. It could be extremely cold-hearted, like icebox where my heart used to be type of energy. So we want to keep a very close eye on this as we move forward, because I like that it offsets the moon, but at the same time, like, is it a good sort of truth, or is this being malicious? Is this being mean? So even I have some questions right now. So we'll dig into that for sure. And again, it could just be a conversation of some sort, especially like with the moon and then the Ace of Swords, something you were thinking about, something you were seeking, absolutely coming to light. So there is that vibe as well. Moving to the back end, we have the Eight of Swords. This is one of the most mentally active cards in the whole entire deck, for better and for worse. Now, the good thing about this card, it is intense, but it moves out quickly. So if you've been stressed, anxious, nervous, something's been really bugging you, when I see the Eight of Swords, it's like, okay, it goes as quick as it arrives. Like, so it's a passing type of energy, which I think is nice. But the downside of this is runaway train brain. And I've been seeing that for a few different signs this week, where it's like there's something on my mind and I can't stop thinking about it. And I'm dwelling on it. And my mind is racing and my mind is going. So watch out for thought loops in this time when this card is here. It could also represent feeling cornered, trapped, no way out type of vibe. And that is not an energy you want to put a Scorpio in, or anyone for that matter, especially Scorpio. So we're going to want to look at all this. Now, can it be more freeing and liberating? Absolutely. I do feel it just feeds into the mental energy. Like with the Eight of Swords and Ace of Swords, it's like I'm digging for the truth. I'm digging for information. I will figure it out. So there's a lot of questioning. It's like I'm a bloodhound on a trail. So I want to dive deeper on all of it, Scorpio. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay. Let's get a good shuffle here for Scorpio gang. What do we got? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that moon. Why is it here for Scorpio? Oh, and yes, if you made it to this point in the reading, if you're a reader, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Scorpio, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, let's see what the moon has. It's like scrambling my brain here. Why's the moon here? Okay. So we do have the Five of Pentacles in reverse underneath it. There's a very skeptical energy I'm picking up off of this, Scorpio. Now, you would think Five of Pentacles in reverse is a good thing, and I would say, yeah, sure, it is. But there's like this energy of protecting oneself. There's this energy of like guarding, skeptical. Usually, the Five of Pentacles is a card of someone that's been tossed out in the cold or someone that has some really tough memories. They've been through some tough things. So the fact that it's in reverse underneath the moon is like, I'm not showing how affected I am by something. But there is this skepticism where it's like, I've been through something. It's very similar to the Nine of Wands to me, where I've been through something before and I refuse to go through it again. I've seen this before. This is very reminiscent of something, and I will not go through it again. Like, I'm not willing to. So again, whether that's something recently or even far off in the past, there's this certain skepticism. Now, could this be towards a very specific person or situation? 100%. There could be someone where there's just something in the vibe. Something feels off. Something feels different. And I was picking that up in some other, like, I think specifically the Libra reading this week, where there's like, there's something different in the energy here. I can't quite tell what it is, but I'm going to figure it out. So I'm not going to say this is someone you definitely have to beware of just yet. We're going to see if there's a warning here. But aside from what I was saying with the skepticism and someone being very careful and very protective, there could be a literal person or a situation where just something feels off. That Scorpio intuition could be heightened. So I would trust that. We're going to see how it goes throughout the reading. Let's see what's up with the Ace of Swords. Usually the Scorpio intuition doesn't shoot like that unless it's necessary, unless it's needed. So let's see why the Ace of Swords is here. Why is the Ace of Swords in the mix? Okay. Feeling like somebody's like holding facts back. They're not saying the full story. So we have the Page of Cups in reverse underneath the Ace of Swords. This is absolutely also analyzing someone and not letting them know that you're doing it. Because, yeah, when I see the Ace of Swords with the Page of Cups in reverse, it's like I'm gathering information right now. I'm not telling you that I'm gathering information, but I'm gathering information. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's just how it feels to me. And aside from that, somebody holding back some information or holding back communication. Now, if somebody is lying by omission, that's not a nice thing. If somebody is holding their tongue because they know they're going to say something real mean, then maybe that's a good thing, right? It's someone purposely holding back communication for a reason. And I think it's a good reason either way. Now, there could definitely be someone that Spirit wants you to keep a very close eye on or beware of when I see this combination of energy in the front. I'm not saying you can't believe a word that comes out of their mouth. I'm not saying that. But it's like partial story. I'm getting partial facts. I'm getting little hints about things. I'm not getting the big picture for whatever reason. If you are biting your tongue about something, that might be good for the time being. Yeah, because with the Ace of Swords, Page of Cups in reverse, it's like, oh, there's something I want to say, but I'm not going to say it yet. I'm not going to say it yet. So it's like I'm getting both of those messages at the same time. Obviously, only take what hits for you. The energy is so peculiar. It's like I'm not really trusting it, if that makes sense. Not that I'm not trusting the message. There could be someone, a situation, or something where I'm like, there's something off here. Like I could feel it. I feel it. Let's go in on the Eight of Swords. We'll see what that has, then we'll do a quick recap. So why is the Eight of Swords here for Scorpio gang? I think right now gathering information or just keeping an eye is probably the best move. That's how it feels to me. I'm not getting anything here that says confrontation, call it out. Not yet. Not yet. There will be a time and a place for it. So we have the Eight of Cups in reverse underneath the Eight of Swords. Okay. This is your patience potentially being tested. Okay, so the Eight of Cups in reverse to me represents something that's looping back around. So whether it's a cycle or a pattern that someone is experiencing, or a pattern or cycle that they live in, when I see the Eight of Swords and Eight of Cups, it's like I've seen this before, just like I was getting here on the front end, where it's like I've seen this before and this is very stressful to me. But there's also this patience that I'm picking up. So I'm not saying you have to be patient with somebody. You might be anyway, or you might be more kind and patient than you normally would be for most people. But yeah, with the Eight of Swords and the Eight of Cups in reverse, there will be a time and a place to address. There will be. I don't think this is something you need to just abandon or walk away from or run away from. When I see the Eight of Swords with the Eight of Cups, it's like, no, like don't get aggressive just yet about it. There will come a time. There will be a time to make a move, take an action, or show your cards, so to speak. That's how it feels to me. But in the meantime, Spirit might want you to be cautious, gather information, keep an eye on somebody or something, and just maybe bite your tongue a little bit. And listen, Scorpio, you already know the deal. I'm part of the collective myself. I know some of us are like, I don't bite my tongue for anyone. Um, it might be better in the short term. I'll just say that. But you do what you wish, of course. Let's go through and do a quick recap, and we'll get into the shadows. So, very peculiar energy for very peculiar reading. Position number one, we have the moon with the Five of Pentacles in reverse. This obviously could represent, something that feels familiar, like I've seen this before, and I don't think I want to go through it again type of energy. But another vibe I was picking up here is just feeling like the energy with someone or something is very off. Um, Even though like appearances might seem fine, like I feel something in the force. So pay attention to your intuition here. Moving to the center, yeah, there might be a person that Spirit wants you to be aware of, because there's just something here about either the words and actions not matching, or Ace of Swords with the Page of Cups in reverse. There's information being held back. I saw this very big in the Cancer reading this week as well. So there could be someone where Spirit's just like, watch the words, watch their actions, watch out for consistencies and inconsistencies. We're getting very specific, Scorpio. If this hasn't happened yet, you'll know when it pops up. That's for sure. Either that, or Spirit might just want you to be quiet for a little bit, bite your tongue, absorb information, and keep an eye. Moving to the back end, we have the Eight of Swords with the Eight of Cups in reverse. There will be a time and a place to really address something, but now might not be the time yet. Now might be the time for this action. Just sit back, relax, and absorb for the time being. So that's mainly what I'm feeling here, Scorpio. Please feel free to take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get your shadow card. Let's see. We're dealing with some shadows already. Yeah, Five of Swords. It's an aggressive energy here, my friends. It is. Now, the good thing about the Five of Swords is that it's like self-reliant. It's an energy that relies on itself. It's very independent, and it will always do what's right for itself. In the challenge, this card can be very challenging, though. The shadow side of this could be very selfish. It could be very confrontational, borderline narcissistic when we see the Five of Swords. Someone that's really self-centered and mean. Now, I'm not saying that this is the person we were seeing within the reading. It could be for some of you, but I'm not saying that's definitely the case. When I see the shadow of the Five of Swords, this to me is usually advice from Spirit, saying like there will be a time and a place to confront this, just like we saw within the reading itself. There will be a time, but it's all about the timing, if that makes sense. Now, the Five of Swords, again, self-reliance, self-sustainability, and doing what's right for oneself is the silver lining of this card. But try to avoid people that are only out for number one in a negative way. There's nothing wrong with looking out for yourself, but when people shift that too far one way, then it can become a problem. So we're just going to leave it at that, Scorpio. That's what I have for you this week, my friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the December subscriber surprise. If you would like further clarification on your situation, you can book a personal reading with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. My December schedule is live right now, and the spots go quick, so go check it out, see what's available if you want to have a chat with me. But for the December subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 3 copies of one of my favorite decks for all skill levels, the Gilded Tarot Royale. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the tarot cards, which one do you resonate with most? When you see it in a reading, it's like, yeah, that's me. Put your answer in the comments. You'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in the community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.